Hello there everyone, Once a Future Gamer here and welcome to a whole new Pokemon challenge. It's 2 days from Valentine's Day and love is in the air, or it could be. Last week we took on Pokemon Emerald with a single Cacnea, a challenge that was pretty simpler than I thought it would be, barring a fight with Drake at the end that left what little hair I have left going grey. That said, we're taking the Valentine's Day route today and we're asking the question of whether or not I can beat Pokemon Fire Red with just a single Luvdisc. Now then, a few things about Luvdisc. It's an interesting Pokemon, a single form, gem-free water type that largely gets used to farm heart scales. We've got a 330 base stat total to work with, our speed is brilliant with 97, so chances are we'll hit first most turns. Our special defence isn't bad at 65, our regular defence is okay at 55. Both attacking stats are slightly worse than our HP though, so we're going to hit fast, but with the force of a wet paper towel in some instances. 330 base stat total is the same as, amongst others, Aaron, Voltorb, Delibird, Houndour and Weasel. Water type is pretty useful in Kanto runs, we're only weak to grass and electric, gyms 3 and 4, so we'll have to see how those fights play out. What's our moveset like? Well, learn-wise, pretty terrible in Gen 3. Attract might be something I get some use out of, but that aside, it's all pretty underwhelming. That said, there's some not bad TM moves. When I get it from Misty, Water Pulse will be useful early game. Ice Beam will probably be exceptionally useful. Surf will probably be a go-to attacking move. Hidden Power might give coverage because there's precious little of that about. Double Team and Return are potentially other options, but that latter one might not be as effective as you might think due to our bad attack stat. Predictions then. Get to the point where we can learn Water Gun at level 12 and Brock will be a cinch. Lorelei might be trouble because I think we'll struggle to hit her hard. I can't see too many of the gyms being difficult. Misty and Koga, possibly Sabrina, might be annoying, but not insurmountable. I predict most of the problems will probably come versus the rival, but I suppose we'll have to see. Just the rules then. In combat, I can only use Luvdisc. I will need other Pokemon for HMs, but they're not going to be permitted to fight. In battle, I can only use held items and Pokeballs, but outside of battle, I can use whatever items I like. And last of all, no glitches or exploits. I use the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Squirtle with Luvdisc, meaning that I can do the whole run with this heart-shaped critter. I replace Squirtle because that gives our rival Bulbasaur, which in theory would be the one capable of giving us the most trouble. I nickname him Mr. Love, because why not? He has the naughty nature, so increased attack and lowered special defence. That is perhaps better than it could be. Our special defence is naturally good, so a drop won't hurt it, and our attack is bad, so a boost could be useful. Anyway, I'm rambling. We fight the rival, I use 3 charm attacks, it makes no sort of difference as he hits us for 2 to 3 HP each time before we start tackling each other. Mr. Love wins, but narrowly, as after a bunch of repeated tackles, he stands there on 2 HP and Bulbasaur is down on the ground. So a win is a win anyway. Let's move on. EV train for the time being on the stuff that gives me speed. I need to get to level 12 to learn Water Gun. There's the Oaks Parcel side quest which gives us a Pokedex to complete too, so that's something that gives us direction. Mind you, it's interesting what he says about it given what we know from Legends Arceus now. Incidentally, anyone playing and enjoying that game? I'm loving it, currently doing a playthrough on my channel. Anyway, we can head over to Route 22 and tackle the rival fight which we try at level 10. We actually lose after getting sand attacked by his Pidgey and then tackled repeatedly. I don't even get to the Bulbasaur, which is pretty worrying. Having trained in Viridian Forest to level 12, I decide to face him again in my search for retribution. This time is better as I 2-hit Pidgey with Water Gun before charming his Bulbasaur and then tackling it over and over and over and over in that dimension over again. This is a long fight. It's not a great long-term strategy because Mr. Love will get spanked the next fight if we try that strategy when it knows Vine Whip. Wow, I just read that out loud. Through the forest I go before it's the face-off with Brock. I'm not going to worry too much about this fight. I'm level 14, so we're evenly matched in that respect. In the actual battle, it's not even close, as Mr. Love sprays his Water Gun attack over Geodude to knock it out, and then does the same to Onix immediately after. Neither of them got a hit off, and I take the badge and move on. Mount Moon is uneventful, but there is a moment when I get to make the third oldest choice in Pokemon franchise history, Helix or Dome Fossil. The oldest choice, red or blue. I picked blue back in the 90s. Second oldest Pokemon choice, Bulbasaur, Charmander or Squirtle. I picked Bulbasaur as my first ever starter, nicknamed him Brute Root X, as you do, because I couldn't find the confirm button. Good memories. Anyway, I take the Helix fossil and move on, just in case you were wanting to ask. Also, Mr. Love learns Takedown. I don't like the move, there's a lot of drawbacks with it. I don't mind the recoil, it's the accuracy I hate, but we might need that extra power over Tackle for either Misty or Rival Fight number 3. I want to work on my special attack EVs. There's Oddish and Abra at the top of Route 24. The bad news is that I've got to fight Rival Rod to get up there, so here goes. And it doesn't go bad until he takes Pidgeotto out and brings in Bulbasaur. I could probably 2-hit it with Takedown, but he goes for Sleep Powder and then ends me with 2 Vine Whips. Okay, so that didn't go to plan then. I make half a dozen attempts at this fight to no avail, so I decide to go fight the 2 trainers in the gym to see if it does me any good. Mind you, while I'm here, I make an effort on Misty to see how we do. I mean, if we could beat her, Water Pulse would be an improvement on Water Gun for the rival fight. We don't do too badly against her, we knock out Staryu easily enough despite getting confused, but Starmie is far too tanky, resisting our takedown, and it knocks us out with the help of a crit Water Pulse and a swift attack. So, guess we're at an impasse. Guess I'll try the rival fight over and over until we get a result. I do nearly get a successful run after being sand attacked twice after a dozen attempts, but the most painful blow is the water gun that misses on the Rattata on red health and it knocks Mr. Love out with quick attack. I'm sure the game starts to troll me at later attempts. Most runs I can 2-hit Bulbasaur with Takedown. The one run where I don't get sand attacked and Sleep Powder misses, damage range kicks in and it survives 2 takedowns to lash me with Vine Whip, leaving me on 6 HP for Rattata to quick attack me. I think it becomes apparent after these attempts that I can't do this at level 26, so I head off to grind. I'd rather not because of those precious special attack EVs I'm missing out on, but I guess I'll have to suck it up. When I hit level 29, I make another speculative try on Misty. I come out relatively unscathed versus Staryu, taking it out with a Takedown and a Water Gun while it only uses Harden, before I start using Takedown on Starmie. It lands a crit Swift and heals itself with Recover, before leaving me weak with another Swift. But I get some luck and crit it with Takedown, giving me that victory. Now give me that Water Pulse TM Misty. I'm going to go introduce that Pidgeotto to a Liquid World of Pain. Said Liquid World of Pain never quite materialises as it takes another 10 attempts. But finally, I get a run where I 2-hit Pidgeotto and don't get sand attacked, and I 2-hit Bulbasaur as it misses Sleep Powder and doesn't hit me with Vine Whip. So I've got both of them down with no stat drops, no status conditions and most of my health left. Anyway, Abra and Rattata go down very quickly afterwards and I breathe a huge sigh of relief. What follows is a mammoth EV grinding session at the top of Route 24 on Abra and Oddish, which isn't always easy, as the Oddish are capable of wearing me down if I miss Takedown on them. Absorb and Poison Powder are pretty brutal things to get hit by. Anyway, I work on the special attack for a dozen levels or so and then move on. About the only thing of note that happens here otherwise is that I replace Takedown with Secret Power. The SSM rival fight is one that I'm looking forward to after the way he made me suffer in Cerulean City. We're pretty strong now, so I tackle him with relish. The only one who causes me even minor irritation is Ivysaur, who survives Secret Power and puts me to sleep. Given we've got a 27 level advantage, we tank Vine Whip quite well and wake up early enough to put it down hard. Next is a fight with Surge, and despite our type disadvantage, I'm feeling pretty good about it. We've got a pretty overwhelming level advantage, so if we can end things quickly, I'm sure we'll be fine. Let's find out. I'm right, it's a one-hit sweep with all of them going down quickly to Water Pulse attacks. Mr. Love finishes them all off without being hit. Boom. In these challenges, my levels sometimes go high compared to the trainers I'm in the same area as. I like to fight everyone, not just for the experience but for the money as well, because you never know when you're going to need an emergency TM or something like that. Here, I'm trying to get enough money saved so that I can get the Ice Beam TM as soon as I get to Celadon. I'm not sure Attract is going to be much good for me over the duration of this run if I'm honest. It's time for the bit of the game that I hate, Rock Tunnel. It's just not fun. I don't foresee many problems with foes, but I don't have repels due to trying to save money, so this will be brutally rough. Actually, I don't really like the caves in Gen 1 period, but oh well. While I'm in Lavender Town, I figure I'll visit Pokemon Tower. Even with nearly a 30 level advantage, Ivysaur and Gyarados give me trouble. This is why I replaced Squirtle with Luvdisc. I thought Blastoise might be quite a hard opponent, but at least it doesn't intimidate. Those two aside, it's a one-shot sweep through with Water Pulse attacks. Gyarados does decent damage with Thrash. Ivysaur lands a Razor Leaf, but it doesn't do him much good. Anyway, I arrive in Celadon City and immediately head to see if I can get the TM for Ice Beam. I'm a little short on cash, and so I clear out the rocket hideout instead, culminating in the fight with Giovanni. I'm not expecting this to be particularly tricky if I'm honest. Onyx and Rhyhorn go down easily to Water Pulse before I use my two new moves, Ice Beam and Return, to take out Kangaskhan, who does at least put up a fight, landing a Fake Out and a Mega Punch. Self Scope in hand, I decide that I might as well take a run at Erica while I'm in town, especially since I now have Ice Beam too. Anyway, it's time to let Mr. Love run wild in a gym full of women, to quote the dirty old man at the window. It's a pretty simple job, given we've got a 30 level advantage on Erica's Pokemon. All of them are swiftly taken out with Ice Beam. I guess we head back to Lavender Town then. Incidentally, I do have a TM for Hidden Power, thanks to the Meowth I caught for Cut, so I'm curious. I drop a save so I can reset if it's useless. Grass or Electric would be best for coverage against water types. That might be our only real stumbling block going forward. I try it out on an Oddish and it does neutral damage, so it isn't Grass or Electric, or Flying, or Psychic, or Ice, or Fire, or Water, because it only did neutral damage. I discover later that it's Bug and decide to screw that for an option. Bug's not that useful for me. Anyway, I kick Team Rocket out of Pokemon Tower and head to Fuchsia City. Before Koga, I go to the Safari Zone and get the Surf HM to upgrade my attacking options. This is probably the best stab move we get. I teach it to Mr. Love and then I go to the gym to take on Koga. Now normally, he can be quite obnoxious, but Muck aside, this is a one-shot sweep through with Surf. Muck survives it and misses Toxic, which would have made the fight interesting. Koga heals it and I take it out with two Ice Beams, so I guess we take the 5th badge and move on. I've got the luxury of choice now. I can either head to take on Blaine or I can go to Sylph, and I'm going for the latter because I know I'm well capable of winning the former if I'm not strong enough to beat the rival / Giovanni / Sabrina in Saffron. I fight every Rocket Grunt in Sylph before they vanish and then tackle rival Rod again. That horrible fight in Cerulean seems a long time ago now, as I one-shot his Pidgeot and Venusaur with Ice Beam. Gyarados is tricky, living more than one move, as does Alakazam, but I'm hardly in any sort of danger of losing here. I wonder if Giovanni might be a troublesome opponent. Stop laughing, you in the back. Anyway, no, it isn't even close. Mind you, we've got nearly a 40 level advantage over some of his Pokemon. You're not going to be surprised to hear that it's a one-shot sweep through, drowning everything out with a series of Surf attacks. He then beats Feet and runs away. Just Sabrina left to face, and then we can GTFO this city and head off for the Blaine battle. Sabrina could be an interesting fight though. Could be, but isn't, as just like with Giovanni, it's a one-shot sweep through his Surf, even the Alakazam going down under the crushing waves of water. 6 badges down, we're getting closer to the end, baby. On Cinnabar Island, we go after Blaine, following a swift run through Pokemon Mansion. I'm not expecting this gym to be particularly hard. That might be famous last words though. I guess it's possible he could spring an upset. Then again, no he doesn't, spoiler alert. Going through the fight, Mr. Love goes on a one-shot sweep through with Surf, taking them out with a flurry of tidal waves. How many times have I said that already? 7 badges down. Just one final fight left with Giovanni, then we're done with the gym challenge. He's not been a particularly tough fight on the previous 2 attempts, but maybe he's upped his game. Oh wait, no he hasn't. It's a one-shot sweep through with Surf, just like the last 2 gyms. Helps that we're super effective against his Pokemon. None of them survive more than a single attack, and he's done. Just like that, I beat Team Rocket. We head back onto Route 22. It feels like a short time ago that we were here. Well, actually, in real time, it was less than 24 hours between recording the first rival fight on Route 22 at the start of the game with this one. I did a lot over the course of the Sunday. I figure this fight goes one of 2 ways. Either it's an easy sweep, or something surprising somewhere in his team gives me a bit of trouble. I'm thinking it's probably Gyarados again. Mind you, Venusaur survives Ice Beam, which could have been problematic if I hadn't frozen it. And in the same fight, I got another freeze on Gyarados, which surprised me. I don't think I've ever had that in the same fight before. Ah well, everything else is a one hit, just those 2 problem Pokemon. I know they'll be stronger in the champion fight, but so will we. I'm not a big fan of Kanto Victory Road. Mind you, it's infinitely more preferable than the Hoenn one. Ironically, the one in the Johto games is very pleasant, and it's supposed to be the same place just 3 years later. Go figure. It's the annoying block push puzzles that annoy me, and it's not just specific to this game either, as anyone who's ever watched my playthroughs of PS1 Resident Evil games will probably testify to hearing my lamentation at some point or another. Eventually, I make it to the Pokemon League, the Indigo Plateau, and it's time to see where we stand. At level 86, our stats are actually a lot better than I thought they'd be. I guessed our speed would be good, but it's better than that. Our special attack is pretty good. Defense could be better. Special defense is decent. I'm worried about the physical attack stat, especially considering we'll likely have to use Return on Lorelei's Lapras at the very least. Anyone want to take guesses on if I can do it at this level or not, or if I'll have to grind up a bit more? Being honest, if I can get past Lorelei, I genuinely don't think the rest of them will be a problem. Maybe Agatha might be annoying, but Bruno and Lance, cake I reckon. Let's do this. We do beat Lorelei on the first attempt, but it's a really long fight. Her Dugong and Slowbro are both quite tanky, but I can at least use Surf on them, unlike Lapras, who has Water Absorb, so that move is a no-go. It takes 2 returns and a Surf to bring Dugong down. Cloyster has bad special defense, but narrowly survives Surf before she heals it, and I hit it with Attract before taking it out with Return and Surf. Slowbro takes the same combination of moves, but a lot more of them. That thing is ridiculously tanky. Jinx, I figure, should be the easiest of the lot, but she survives Surf and then uses an Attract of her own. I eventually take her out with 2 returns after she healed, but it takes a long time, thanks to Attract. And now for the one that did take forever, Lorelei's friggin' Lapras. I land Attract immediately, giving me some measure of revenge for the Jinx before she paralyses Mr. Love on the first body slam. At least she used her healing items on the other Pokemon, so the only healing I have to worry about with Lapras was the Citrus Berry. It took a lot of returns to take it down. I even tried Ice Beam at one point to see if it did anything else, but with it being 4 times resisted, it wasn't much good. At least the leftovers kept us healthy, and probably the best thing is that we got a lot of Attract luck. Lapras got immobilised a bunch of times and we can whittle her down. So yeah, it's a huge sigh of relief when she does go down. In case you're wondering just how many turns it took, look at how much PP we used on this final screen. 6 Surf attacks and 11 returns. Good thing I'll probably not need that latter move again. Anyway, Bruno next. This one goes a lot smoother. I was going to say, has anyone ever had trouble with Bruno before? But being fair, I did when I took on Fire Red with a single Poochyena. Both Onyx and Hitmonchan are easily knocked out with Surf attacks, they weren't problems. Hitmonlee and Machamp were both a little tankier. They survived the attacks, but neither of them were able to make any sort of impact beyond Machamp using a scary face, which with our speed was negligible, given we still outsped. So yeah, much more easier fight than the previous one. Agatha is next. This one I figure could be tricky. If Bruno's Pokemon were capable of surviving Surf, then what might Agatha's do? It's not that bad to be fair, but there's a few eerie moments. Gengar number 1 and Golbat aren't a problem. They're both one hits with Surf and Ice Beam respectively. Arbok survives Surf and lands Screech, which is a problem because Ghost type moves do physical damage in this gen. She heals it, but I take it out with Surf and Return. Gengar number 2 survives Surf and deals over half our HP in damage with Shadow Ball, but we take it out with the second attack. Haunter isn't a problem. Phew, that could have gone a whole lot worse than it actually did. Time to keep moving. I'm on a roll. Mind you, I thought this last week going into the final Elite Four member, a Dragon-type trainer. At least I'm not going to keep getting walled by a Flygon and an Altaria here, or if I am, something has gone wrong somewhere. No such problems. Barring Gyarados, who is just a little too tanky to get 2 hit by Ice Beam, it's a one-shot sweep. Getting blasted by a Hyper Beam from a Gyarados wasn't fun. I guess I'll have that to look forward to in the next fight as well. The rest of them were all easy. The Dragon's going down to Ice Beam and the Aerodactyl going down to Surf. Time to pop a Max Elixir and take on Rod one final time. This fight isn't bad, you know. Pidgeot goes down in one hit. Venusaur survives Ice Beam, but thankfully the move of choice is Solar Beam, which means we get a second free shot at it. Alakazam is annoying. It's just special defensively sound enough to survive Surf, and he keeps healing it. Thankfully, I can't emphasise this enough, it doesn't put light screen up. Rhydon is a one hit. Gyarados puts up more of a fight than the other 4 put together, but he keeps using Dragon Rage, which does fixed damage. We can't quite 2-hit it with Ice Beam, which is annoying, but we keep pounding away until it goes down. It's a good job we're in good condition to face Arcanine, as it lands a priority extreme speed for decent damage, but other than that, it gets swept away by Surf, and with that, we enter the Hall of Fame. This was fun. I mean, the early game in Cerulean was a bit of a stumbling block, but that aside, pretty smooth throughout thanks to that EV training I did on Route 24. Once that was out of the way, we had it pretty easy. I know we had a level advantage for most of the game, but given that the Lorelei and Agatha fights were how they were, I think we'd have needed it anyway. Okay, another challenge down. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember, this was in honour of it being Valentine's Day in a few days. If you've got someone to spend some time with, then I hope you have a great day with your loved ones. If you're alone, then remember, it's just a day that was created by the shopping industry to sell stuff anyway. Next week, join me for another Pokemon challenge as I do a whole new game. Next week, I'm thinking I'm going to make an attempt on Pokemon Heart Gold with a single Regigigas, using similar rules to the slacking run I did a few weeks back. Until then, if you have enjoyed what you've seen, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, check out my other videos, all that jazz. Until that next time, have a great week, take care of yourselves. This has been Once and Future Gamer, signing off for now. Ta-ra folks, have a good time, and I will see you next week. Bye bye.